Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about Bangladesh today. This will take about 10 minutes. A couple things you got to understand. As you're going through the PowerPoint, this sort of mirrors the PowerPoint in a way. You got to understand that Bangladesh is a small country with a extremely large population. 157 million people in a area about the size of Texas. It's bordered on three sides by India and a country called Myanmar to the east. Now, it has occasional border disputes with India. Right now, the tensions are yeah, they're pretty good. They're not really there. Um, they trade back and forth. And occasionally you have a flare up. Occasionally, what you have is you have people fighting back and forth. Small regional conflicts. It is a very, very low-lying area. Tends to be that when it rains, it floods. And so you're hearing all the time, and we haven't heard from them in a while, but you will occasionally hear of historic flooding in Bangladesh, especially during the monsoons. Think of the monsoons as the hurricanes that we have here, and those farmers depend on those monsoons to grow their crops and to fertilize their fields. Except that when the monsoons come in, it also floods. So, that's a big, big problem for them. And most of those people are really too poor to go anywhere else. That's a bigger issue, too. Most of those people in Bangladesh really live on probably about $150, $200 a year. They're like a lot of the people in that region. They can't afford to move. So, you've got a large population. You've got a very poor population. Most of the people in Bangladesh are farmers. Most of them are either doing the self-sufficiency farming thing where they're growing their crops and they're feeding their own families, or what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell their crops in the bigger cities. Your rice, your coca, whatever, your coffee, things like that, and they're trying to make a living. The thing is, in Bangladesh, the families are extremely large. There's no government-sponsored birth control. And so the kids are all working. And they're all working, and they're all working in the field. So really, by the time you get to be maybe a fifth grader, your parents are kind of like saying, well, you know what, school's not so much a priority. And what we'll do is we'll just bring you home and have you work on the farm. The other thing is, in Bangladesh, you pay for school. So it's not like us where you have a free education. If you can't pay for school in Bangladesh, you don't go. And so most people can't pay for it past the fifth grade. And really, honestly, it depends on how rich of a family you actually have and, how wealthy you are. And, if you make it to the 8th grade in Bangladesh, you're actually doing pretty well. But universities are generally for the very, very wealthy and the very, very well connected. So, your kids are starting to work at, 10, 11 years old, and sometimes even younger. Now, if they move to the city, this is the one thing that Bangladesh has been criticized for, is that in Bangladesh, especially the capital of Dhaka, you have a lot of sweatshops. And so there's a lot of exploitation of younger people. They go in there with the promise of money. They come from the country, and then they run into this situation where they don't make enough money to go back to the farm, but they don't make enough money really to survive in the city. So, what do? It's, they're stuck. So, you've got a large population, and most of the population, by and large, is below the age of 25. And the population is booming right now. It's growing, and it's kind of on a level with India in terms of their population percentage growing. So it's a very, very dynamic population, very young population. 85% of them are under the age of 25. That's a lot of people who are young. And so, this is Bangladesh. So that's about what I wanted to talk about. Last thing I should probably tell you, as far as their diet goes and what do they eat, okay, mostly rice and fish. And this is what you do when you are living in a country like Bangladesh and you are very, very poor, is rice and fish. As a matter of fact, most people in the world, rice is a staple. Even places like Japan. So, okay, kids. Now, last thing I want to talk to you guys about is your assignments. Go ahead and keep turning in the map and the vocabulary if you've not done that. Look in the class materials folder for your new stuff, okay? So make sure that you're doing that, and make sure that if you have any problems pulling that material out, like downloading it from the class materials folder, make sure you get with me, okay? All right. All right, kids. I will talk to you later, and I will see you online. All right, I miss you guys. They're talking about May 4th. Possibly, we could be back in school. So just be prepared for that, okay? So, once again, just keep turning in work. I have some classes that haven't turned in a whole lot. So make sure that you're turning it in. And those of you who are online, I like to see you. And I like talking to you. Just let me know what you need if you need anything, okay? All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.